Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Terry Belcourt. I'm a registered nurse here at the SRNA, and it's my pleasure to offer this National Indigenous Peoples Day webinar for you. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that this presentation is being held on Aboriginal land and recognize the strength, resilience, and capacity of the Treaty 4 and Métis people in this land. So we don't have a guest speaker per se here today, but we do have a video to share with you. So we'll do that in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to remind you that as a viewer, you'll be able to hear and see the presentation, but you won't be able to discuss with us. So the best way to ask your questions is through our chat line or through the Q&A module, and we'll monitor those as the session goes along. If you would like to look at this video again in the future, it will be posted on our website, and you can also invite your friends and colleagues to take a look at it as well. We'll also send you out an evaluation tomorrow, and we really value your feedback, so please do send that in to us. So as we really look at National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is on Friday, June 21st, one of the things that we've done internally here at the SRNA through our council is have an elder as part of our meetings, as part of many of the activities that we do. She was here last week for a council meeting, and Barbara McDonald sat down with her. Barb's one of our nursing advisors, and she sat down and had a little bit of an interview with Elder Jeanne Sutherland, who is our elder. So I'm going to play that now for you, and you can ask questions throughout, and I'll be happy to answer whatever I can.
Hello, Elder Jeanne Sutherland. I want to welcome you today to the SRNA, and so glad that you could participate in an interview with us. It's now been close to 3 years that you've been involved in the SRNA work, and we are very pleased to have you as our elder. So we'd like to spend some time just talking with you about what that experience is like, and what sorts of things from your perspective you're able to help guide us in, and what your lens is on that whole on our pathway. So we did invite you to participate. I think it was 2 annual meetings ago when we were in Saskatoon, and that day we said, would you be willing to come and open our meeting with a prayer and be able to stay for the day. So that's how our relationship got started. What do you recall about that time when we first initially had that encounter, when we began our relationship together?
With the first, when I first started with SRNA, it was an honor at that time. Prior to that, you had asked me, but in the meantime, I had lost my old man at that time. And so it was very difficult for me to attend the first conference, but with the surrounding that I had of all the love of the nursing, the nurses, even though I didn't know everyone at that time, the council I didn't even know. It was just being surrounded, I think, that I did okay.
I remember that day that you opened with a prayer, and it really set the stage for our meeting and the way that we were able to respond to each other and take our important work forward, but in a context that was very respectful. And it felt as though that your opening, your presence made a difference. What kinds of, when you're an elder for an organization, or if you're opening for a day for an important meeting, what is your perspective about what you're offering when you come to set us on our path?
Well, as an elder, you're honored when you're given the tobacco to say an opening prayer for any organization. For me, it's helping them and praying for them to have a good meeting, but they also need to do their meeting with a clear mind, a good heart for whatever it is that they're going to discuss. And I know when I started with the SRNA, they had never had an elder before, so it was brand new for them. But I tried, I think at that time, telling them that I was there for their guidance. SRNA is different from the other organizations that I go to. I go do prayer for the U of S Nursing, Health Canada, FSIN, and the subjects are all different. They are completely different. FSIN is completely different from the U of S Nursing and Health Canada and SRNA. Just all different. So the situations are all different. A lot of times topics can get sticky, and as an elder it is my job to say, can we take a break or something and rethink what you're discussing. And it's because as an elder that's my job to do that. And that's when I remind them, remember, you need to do it with a clear mind and a good heart. And they'll usually calm down, otherwise a lot of meetings would get chaotic. I haven't endured that yet at SRNA, I'm still waiting. But they are so interesting. Like, for me, all the organizations that I'm on, they are all health. And my priority in any health is the children. It's always the children. I don't know, SRNA, I don't know what their expectations are of me, really. But maybe it's to calm them also. I enjoy just sitting there, and sometimes they'll look at me and I'm thinking, oh, you want something like, and yeah.
So I remember the day that you first opened the meeting and closed again. And at the end of the day, I remember saying to you, now next year when we're in Regina, I'm wondering if you can advise us about which elder could come and speak and open our meeting. And you said to me, well, I'm your elder now. And it was such a great day because I don't think we really anticipated that we'd be able to have someone who is coming to the council meetings and truly guiding us every step of the way. And that is such an honor to have you be our elder at the SRNA for all things relating to the work that we're doing, whether it's council or staff. So that is a great thing to have. And so in that last 3 years, we've seen you quite regularly at the council meetings and so on. And also when we're out in the field and doing other meetings, you're also there to guide us in our work. We know that we are very dedicated to responding to the calls to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and are looking to your guidance about how we can form our path to make sure that we're heading in a good direction. So one of the things you guided us to just recently in our most recent annual meeting was having a blanket exercise, and your sister was able to facilitate for us. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. When I got the call asking if I knew of someone that would do the presentation for the blanket ceremony, I gave my sister's name. She's an educator, but she's also a teacher of the blanket ceremony, and she does hers a little bit differently, She uses a lot of props. I really like the blanket ceremony because it involves all the people at that gathering. And then when you're put on all the different blankets that are put in a circle, that represents, like, I guess, a little piece of province or a piece of land that you owned. And then when the settlers were coming in, our people were like, oh, you're not here anymore, we need this piece, so the blanket would be taken away. That's how people really, really get the true meaning of stuff being taken away from you. And my sister also uses dolls in her presentation, and then she actually makes a lot of the participants carry the doll, which represents your children. So when the residential school era came along, like, she'd just go take that child away from the person's arms, and I think that's when they experience the true meaning of losing a child taken away from you forcefully. I forget what other props did she use.
Artifacts, goods, and one of the other items was a Hudson Bay blanket that represented some of the smallpox, passing of smallpox to Indigenous people. So that was interesting, but through the exercise, if people aren't familiar, it essentially takes people through time in Turtle Island, where the land was wide open and Indigenous peoples were living freely.
Mm-hmm.
And then gradually, over time, it takes you to present day, where so many things have happened over time to interfere with the relationship. And she also spent some time with video and so on to guide us about what the future holds too, and setting us on a good path for reconciliation and moving forward to develop our relationships. It seemed during that exercise, so that people can find a path together. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Is that how you felt
Yeah.
that she
Oh yeah.
ends the
Yeah.
ceremony?
She
as well?
does. Yeah, she does an excellent job. And when I wish I could see that done more often in different organizations, is doing that blanket ceremony. If more organizations could check on it, go on a website. Like, it doesn't have to be her. There's a lot of people that are qualified to do that. Then I think a lot of people would have a better understanding. And for me, I always tell people, make a friend with a First Nations person and you get to know a different person. Then you get to understand my people a lot better. You get to understand us, that we're just normal people. We are. For me, I think I always say my people have the stupidest, craziest humor. We do. And I know a lot of people, when they get to know my people, that's what they always say. You guys have crazy humor. That's how we are.
Mm-hmm. And in closing, I wonder if you have any messages for nurses who are maybe starting out in their careers, or at any point in their career, around what kind of guidance you would give as our elder for the SRNA.
To the young nurses coming up?
And to all of us.
And to all of you. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say to nurses and going in right now, and the ones going in. Nurses are special people. I always say the Creator granted a lot of patience, a good heart. Working in the health field is very tough. You are dealing with all nationalities, especially now, all different nationalities. You're the ones that have to deal with all different the languages. I admire nurses a lot. From the bottom of my heart, I'm always grateful for nurses. Where would we be without nurses? Really. The loving care. I've had family members in the hospitals. I had a grandson that was in there for 3 months straight, and oh my, I couldn't ask for better care for what that he got. You know, the nurses were so kind, so very, very kind, understanding. For that, I'm very grateful for nurses. So I'm not going to give them any advice. Nurses don't need advice. They don't, because they're the ones with heart. They know how to deal with people.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I know that you've always said that we must go home and hug our
Yes,
family.
at the end of the day, when you go home, always hug your loved ones, your partner, your children, your grandchildren, because you don't know what the Creator is going to bring us tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much, Jeanne. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for watching that video, and we're really appreciative of Elder Jeanne for sharing her thoughts about us. We are really truly finding our way, having an elder, and we're just so thankful that she is here helping us to learn and to approach things, as she said, with a clear mind and a good heart. And as she said at the end, nurses genuinely do that, and that kindness and understanding goes a really long way. There's lots of stories out there that aren't so great about interactions with different people, but nurses can be leaders and in providing culturally competent care and being a real difference for people in the healthcare setting. So one thing that I wanted to also mention is the blanket exercise. I know for me personally, it was a very impactful exercise. I've gone to 2 now, a huge learning. And so I would really highly recommend, if you're interested in learning more about the truth of what has happened with Aboriginal and Indigenous people in our country, to attend one of those blanket exercises. There are different groups, as Elder Jeanne said, that are able to facilitate that. They can do it for a small group or a big group. They're very adaptable. So if that's something that maybe your unit would like to do together, or your facility, or maybe it's just one that's being hosted in the community, I would highly, highly recommend attending one. There's a few National Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations happening. I know the city of Regina has some activities going on at Victoria Park. And in Saskatoon, Wanuskewin is going to be busy with activities starting at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And then they've also got some evening activities planned. So I hope that you'll take the opportunity to learn more about Indigenous culture and Indigenous peoples over at this time of year when there's such great celebration. I'm just going to, there's a couple minutes here for questions if you have any. Please feel free to share those now. Next week is, we're going to have a session on HIV testing day for 2019 and some of the new things that are coming up. So please do join us. We'll have some guest presenters for that topic as well. So I don't see any questions coming through. So thank you so much again for joining us, and have a wonderful day.